Good morning, everyone. This is Ankit. I'm the BIOS engineer here in Advantech Europe, based in Germany, in the Munich office, and I'm part of the EECC team that Thomas just mentioned. So I'm presenting the Advantech BIOS Wizard to you today. This is a tool that we created for making BIOS customizations, as Thomas was just explaining. This is what I'll be presenting today. The overview of the product will tell you the purpose, why we created this tool, some of the features, the distribution process. I'll also give a tool demo, and then we can proceed to Q&A there. So, um, what is Advantech BIOS Wizard? So we've created a tool that allows you to do modifications in the BIOS binary that is there on the target system. So once you have the BIOS binary given to you by Advantech, you can use this tool and make edits to the binary. You can change default options that you see in the setup menu and create your own BIOS binary that you can flash on the system. So you basically save time in making some experimental changes, or if you want to make some changes that you want to then deploy to your customers, you save some time on that. It also allows you, the tool also allows you to make changes to the OEM logo that the customer would want. We do have some expansion plans for this tool as well. We will be adding some features to modify the bootloaders and not just the BIOS that we give you. So when I say bootloaders, I mean slim boot or core boot. There are not many settings in these bootloaders in general, but whatever small customizations that you can make, because the bootloaders are already very customized, as Thomas mentioned already. We will also be adding features to modify LVDS configuration, DMI data, and things like that. So right now the tool can do the first two steps, and then we are going to add it feature by feature, some new things specific to the BIOS and bootloader that Advantech provides. Moving on to purpose, why did we create this tool? One of the most requested items that we have in customer support today is BIOS customization. It requires a lot of development time just to make simple modifications, because we get a request from the customer. We have to verify. We have to make the changes, default changes. We do the verification. We send it back to the customer. The customer does they do their verification. The turnaround time is it adds up. If the customers and partners have this tool, they can actually make their own changes and verify it themselves. It saves a lot of time. It saves development resources on our side as well, so we can focus on providing better and better products. We can focus on the R&D and adding new features from our side. So that is the primary goal. The second thing that comes with it is there is an easy way for people to have experimental changes. They can our customers and partners can make some changes if they are working on some default settings that they think is useful for their customer. They can do that themselves and flash it on their system, see if the default changes took effect and things like that. So the tools that were available to us before this were from AMI. We have primarily the BIOS that we have been providing with our boards have been the AMI BIOS. So AMI provides us with a tool that changes the default settings, but it's AMI's tool. So we do have to sign NDAs And also, we cannot have Advantech specific features in the AMI tool since it is owned by them. So we wanted some more flexibility and provide more value add by having our own tool, and we can cater to our customers and our partners much better that way. Also, it provides all our partners with some value add on their side, right? They can provide better first level technical support with this tool to their customers, and they don't have to come back to us for every small change that the customer would want. So that is basically, these are the reasons why we went ahead and created the tool. Um, Move on to features. I'll tell you some of the features that we are providing with this tool as of now. So as I mentioned, modify BIOS setup options. You must be familiar with these keywords here. When you open the BIOS setup menu, you see these main tabs, right? So you can go through these tabs, and it will, once we expand it, and I'll show this in the demo. You will see all the setup options that you generally see on the BIOS screen, and you will be able to modify the default value. You can also decide whether you want to hide a certain option or show a certain option to the end customer. So you have that control as well. So basically, you can have a customized setup for yourself, right? We will give you everything that should be visible to the customer, and then you can decide if you want to hide some extra things or show some of the items that are already hidden. The options will also show you a help text, which when you click on a certain option, it will tell you what that particular option does, whatever the help text is provided in BIOS, basically. You can track all the changes that are made. So once you make all the changes, when you create a new binary, it comes with a change log, and you can see in that particular version. Thank you. So yeah, once you've saved the binary, it comes with a change log, and the change log will show you in that particular version what all options you changed. So you can keep a record of all the changes that you have made in different versions. It also, if you just want to create a report, so every single option that you see in all these tabs here, um, you can generate a report of what default value each option holds, and then that can also be kept, that is useful for record keeping. This is also useful for us. So when you send us some queries on certain settings, or if you have any questions on how the platform is performing and why it is behaving in a certain way, when you send us a BIOS binary, it helps us to narrow it down very quickly, because we can generate the report and we can see what is the difference between an official BIOS that went out with the system, and what all did you change. So it works in our favor as well, to provide you with better support. Um, and The last thing is, you can change OEM logo. So here, this is a screenshot of the default logo that comes with AMI BIOS. And in the demo, I'll show you how you can change the logo and create a new binary with the logo. One benefit here of this tool is that we are providing this feature of changing logo in the same tool. In Historically, the tools that are provided by AMI, or we have seen some of the tools that are available in market by some of our competitors. There are two different tools generally, to change the logo, and another tool to change the setup options. In our case, this is where specific value add from Advantech comes into picture, is that we can do all this in the same tool, and hopefully we have some more tabs come up here for DMI and other things as we add more features to it. Um, Moving on to the distribution model that we have set up for now. Um, an NDA needs to be executed for any type of Advantech BIOS Wizard version that we send you, be it a demo version or the actual product, the NDA needs to be executed. We do have a software license agreement, mainly for the purposes of making sure that the BIOS binary that you create, you will be responsible for the changes made. Just, I'm not trying to scare you here. Just the thing is that BIOS is very powerful, right? It creates, it basically initializes the hardware for your system to and the OS to use it. So when certain changes are made, there is a possibility, right, that the system behaves in a way that you did not expect it to behave. Just to let you know that the options that you will be modifying, you'll only be modifying the default and not the fail-safe. So it is very difficult for you to break a system using this, but it might behave in different ways, and that's why we say that the RMA process will actually be executed on the official BIOS that we sent to you with the system when it was shipped, right? So, and if there is any problem, obviously, we will look at it on a case by case basis, and we'll see if there was really a bug in our BIOS or it was just a weird combination of certain settings. It is only intended that BIOS Wizard is used on Advantech BIOS images. This should not be used, and we do have a mechanism to detect if it is an Advantech BIOS or not, the image, and the tool won't function. And that also will be covered in the SLA. Moving forward, there is a demo version, as I mentioned. It doesn't have the save functionality, but it lets you play with the setup options. You can see what all options are available for you to modify. You can see how the tool works, and have, I mean, if you have any feedback, if you want any customizations, you can come back to us and say whether we can add this feature or not, and we will look into it. It does come with a quick start guide, which describes the functionality in detail. We are also planning to release training videos, so that makes it much easier for you to understand the tool. Not a very complicated tool. It's pretty intuitive when you look at the GUI. But still, once we have, we want to provide you with all the guide and training beforehand, so you don't have too many queries when you're using the tool. We also have options of putting the brand name of, or if some of our customers or partners are interested, they can have their brand name on the tool, which makes it more exclusive for that partner to distribute to their customers. Moving forward to the tool demo. So when you open the tool, it looks like this. Blank screen just says it's Advantech BIOS Wizard. You can always go to the About section to see which version of the tool you are using right now. And if there is more information about some licensing information, we might add it later. But this is what it will tell you for now. You can go ahead and open a BIOS binary or a ROM file. Those are the two options that we allow as of now. Here I have a binary for the demo purpose, one of our evaluation BIOSes that we are working on internally. So I'll just open that. This is what you see when it opens up. It gives you a basic BIOS information, the file path of where you opened it, the size of the binary. So this one is a 32 megabyte binary. The sign-on message. So this tells you whether it's an evaluation BIOS or it is an official BIOS that is released. And then there is this thing which says Advantech BIOS Wizard modified. So this BIOS has not been modified. This BIOS binary has not been, zero means it has not been modified by the wizard yet. This is basically for tracking purposes. So if you get something from your customers, a BIOS that, hey, this is not working properly, you can use that BIOS binary. You can open the tool, put the BIOS binary here, and you can see whether the customer was using your official BIOS that you released to them, or they were using a BIOS that was modified by them, right? So this is a tracking mechanism just to know that someone is using or not using the official BIOS, right, that you released. So that way you will know, okay, it might be some of the customizations that is causing a certain behavior or not. Uh, as I was showing in the slide before, the BIOS setup. So the setup is the root of the tree. Once you open that, you get all these tabs that you generally see on the menu. Let's open main. So this page, generally, if you have navigated through the BIOS settings, this page basically just has basic information. It tells you the BIOS information. It tells you the memory information. So these are settings that are not modifiable. These are just settings that you see on the screen. Right. So that's why you don't see, when I select these options, you don't see any of these tabs here show anything to you, because these are not modifiable. So this tool will only show certain things here if the information, if the tab or setting is modifiable. So let's go to advanced and see some of the modifiable settings. I'll go to the ACPI settings, right? Let's select low power capability. Right now on this BIOS, it is disabled. So now you see the help comes up. It says what this option does, and it also gives you an option. So this option is currently visible. It shows on the screen. If I have to modify this, if I want to enable low power capability on this system, I'll go there. I'll say enabled. As soon as you select a different value, it it marks this option as red. So when you're modifying different values, this also, the tool will keep indicating to you this is an option that you have modified, and all others are black, right? So this keeps telling you that, yeah, these are the options that you have modified. Just a tracker for you to see what all you have done in this particular session. Then let's go to a type of option where you can type the value as well. So the PL1 value, the help text tells you that you can increment or decrement this value by 125, right? So I go to the default value window, and I will put 4,700. I increased it by 120, 4,750. I increased it by 125. And once I've selected that, I press enter, and then you see now this value has changed. So this is marked in red, and now it is 4,750. If I go back to some other thing and come back here, you see that it has saved the value. Same with low power as zero idle. It has saved the value to enabled. While doing all these options, so you can go to CPU. There are many options. I mean, we don't need to go through all the options, but just to show you that you can access all these options here. Let's go to the OEM image. When we go here, so I see this is the AMI logo that comes by default. So in this case, the customer has not requested us to change the logo yet, but say that we received a new request. We go to load new image. The three file types that we support right now are BMP, JPEG, and PNG. So let's select PNG. I do have an image here for demo purposes. So this is the Advantech logo that we have. Click on open. And now you see this is the new logo, where we'll put the Advantech logo, for example. So now say all your customizations that you wanted to do are done. You go back, you make sure that yes, these are the options that I changed. The logo is there. Now I can go and say save as. So I save this new image. I'll just give it a new name, edit one, and I click save. Shows you a progress bar. Once the new image is created, it tells you that the file has been saved and there is a change log that has been generated. For the purposes of refreshing the screen, and since it is a new file that has been created, we close this particular file that is open, and you will have to open the new file again, or the same file if you wanted to create multiple images. You can do that. So the pop-up just tells you what all it's going to do. I say okay, and the file is closed. Let's go back and open the new file, which is the edit one. And now I want to see whether the changes that I made last time, did they hold or not, right? So when I go to low power S0 idle capability, it was disabled before, now it's enabled. When I go to the value, I see that it is 4,750 now. When I go to OEM image, I see the Advantech image. So in your new BIOS image that you created, all these settings are there. Just to show you the change log, this is how. So in the folder that you executed this BIOS from, this tool from, in that folder you can find the changes.log. So this is the folder. This is where I opened the wizard from, and the changes are saved here. Right. It basically tells you on the prompt as well. So it tells you change the low power S0 idle capability from selection 1 to selection 2. It also tells you the PL1 value. Here it is in hexadecimal, so you can verify that these are the changes, and it will tell you to which binary did you make the changes. So you use the base binary as this, and the changes were this. So you can track your changes like this. Let's see one more feature, which is the generate report feature. So if I go to file, and I just want to generate a report of all the options that are there right now in the system. So I do generate report, tells you that the generate report is saved in this particular file. Okay. I open that. This is the settings report. It has all the options that are currently modifiable by BIOS that you will see in the tool. And it tells you each and every setting. It tells you that low capability, low power is on selection 2, and the item is visible. Similarly, it tells you the PL1 value is this. Similarly, you keep going. So it basically goes from each tab. So this one is in main. These two options are in main, basically. Then there are these options in advanced, and you can see it that way. For example, like, if I want to, like, say you have a feature request, which I can probably see here, I would want to change it as well. I want this to be, put it in a particular format. So I want advanced, and then I want a tab, like I would want it like this or something. So these are the kind of things that you can ask us to do, and we will be more than interested to make those changes. Also, if you want more features, please let us know once you have played around with the tool a little bit, so that we can make this tool as usable and as useful for you and your customers as we go forward with newer versions. So I made some changes, so that's why it's asking me that. I'm going to save it. And then I can choose to close the file. It will ask you generally when you open another file, it will always ask you, do you want to close it without saving? In this case, yes, this is already the edited. Also, I forgot to mention, but now in the edited file, in the edit one, you see it says Advantech BIOS Wizard modified yes. So it will always tell you that you actually this particular binary has been modified by using this tool. So I do this, so file is closed. You can go ahead and open another file. For now, this is basically what I had in demo. So I just quit it. The tool is closed. That's it from the demo, and that was my presentation. I hope you guys use the demo. Please ask us for the demo and demo version of the tool. Please play around with it. Give us all the feedback that you would want in the that you would want in the tool to see any improvements and things like that. And then we can move to Q&A, Stephanie.